Hey YouTube land, Tycanders here doing another toy review, and this is for the 2018 Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom Mercenary and Ankylosaurus figure, and for the pachycephalosaurus figure, and I hope I pronounced that name correctly. I think it's right. Basically it's the last Jurassic World Legacy Collection, which is based on the Lost World pachycephalosaurus and not one from Fallen Kingdom, but I'm doing the reviews together. So I'll just bring in the mercenary there. So here is the mercenary with his shock stick. If you can just get him to stand, he's a little bit top heavy with the shock stick. And here's his Ankylosaurus. Wait a minute, that's not an Ankylosaurus, that's a Dimorphodon. And if you look at the front of the box, it's completely incorrect. So if I flip around the back of the box, you'll see it actually has the correct information on it, saying, well, mercenary in different languages with Dimorphodon. For some reason, and it seems to be only with the European versions of this, because, just to show you, I ended up getting two because I thought it was some sort of rare variant. Both boxes are identical, and I asked online on the Jurassic JP Toys forums, and someone else said that their one had the exact same thing on it as well. So it seems to be an issue with the European version of the figure, that it says Mercenary and Ankylosaurus, because there is actually a figure with Ankylosaur, but it hasn't been released yet. I think it's supposed to be part of Wave 3. So, for whatever reason, Mattel screwed up and basically put out an incorrect packaging. So what you're actually getting is this little flappy Dimorphodon, which is the kind of sharp-toothed little beaky guys from the first Lost World or Jurassic World film. And onto the pachycephalosaurus. Let me just move him out of the way for the moment, and I'll have a look at the packaging. So he comes in the standard Legacy Collection style packaging, which is kind of like the door from the old original Jurassic Park kind of thing, except it says Jurassic World instead. You got the T-Rex up in the top. You got the kind of jungle stuff on the inside of the packaging. It's an open box, as you can see. As the dinosaur was just in there, you can see how it's housed in there. So you have just these two things to clip, to drop, to clip them out. And then flipping around the back of the box, you have ramming head action, basically. So it's very similar to the old vintage Kenner one. So I'll go on with the dinosaur first. So now, my one does have a little trouble staying up. I'm not sure if this is the same for anyone else's, but as you can see, the legs seem to splay apart really widely, and she does have a little bit of difficulty standing up. Sculpt wise is fantastic. I really like the sculpt of this. You actually have a ball jointed head, which is quite interesting. You could have just left it completely static with the action, because of the way the action works. When you press down on the back of the tail, it sounds like a stapler. So it's just pushes in and does the head ramming. The legs do have that kind of splaying feature that some of the more like the Legacy Collection dinosaurs have and the Roarvors have. The basic dinosaurs don't have this articulation, the attack back ones. And he has hands that can go out the side and rotate all the way around. Now the legs don't go all the way back or all the way forward. That's about as far back and forward. Well, I can actually get her a little bit further. She goes that far back, that far forward. And the right leg goes back that much. But because of the angle of the legs, it's kind of best to have her in that kind of one pose for walking. If we can just get her to line up with her legs. There. So to get her to stand, you kind of have to have her leg off tilt a tiny bit, at least for my one anyway. And she does have the scan feature, so let me see if I can just zoom in on this. Bear with me. I don't know how good that will be, but if you have the app you might be able to scan that and get the information for pachycephalosaurus. Basically the Jurassic World app allows you to scan the dinosaur's feet, and on the bottom of the feet of all the dinosaurs, bar the very mini ones, you actually have information from the app, so kind of park information and then general information about the dinosaurs, like where they were discovered, how many kind of bones and stuff they have, or how many were complete dinosaurs, that kind of stuff, or complete dinosaur skeletons. Now, here is the older Jurassic World pachycephalosaurus, which is the Hasbro one, and as you can see all the lovely screw holes on one side, and then if I flip her around, she does have a tendency of being a little off balance as well. You can see they're actually very close in scale, very similar scaled. Let me just move this guy out of the way. So, and they both have very similar actions, whereas the only difference is the Hasbro one is that you can slide the tail sideways and the head will actually move sideways as well. But and main difference with the Hasbro one is the legs and hands are just on swivels as opposed to ball joints as well, and it doesn't have the neck movement that the other one does. And then just for one last comparison for the dinosaur before I get onto the actual figure, and you'll see what I mean about the Jurassic World, or the Jurassic Park Lost World version. Here, if we can get her into shot, is the actual vintage Kenner Jurassic World, Jurassic Park Lost World pachycephalosaur. This is the adult one. They did two. There was a smaller one and an adult one, and this is the rare version of this one, which you pop the head down, and if I can find the button, remember where it is, press the button and it pops out. There was two versions of this. One had an actual visible button that you could actually see, and this is the one with the hidden button, and you can actually turn the head. But you can see how also missing the dino damage piece for this one. So if anyone out there has a spare dino damage piece, that would be great. But you can see how the colouring is very similar, and how Mattel were kind of going for this, the adult version's look. Even the sculpt, overall sculpt, is very similar as well. You can see like it has the kind of whitish dome, the kind of grasping hands, the blue, even though it's kind of a more navy on the Mattel one. Even around the eyes you have very similar colouring. The only difference is the beak part is blue on the Kenner one, where it isn't on this. I've seen someone repaint this to have the blue on it, and it kind of looks really good as well. Even the kind of the way the legs are, the kind of scales going down the legs look very similar as well. So very cool dinosaur. As I said, might be just mine with the splayed out legs issue. Not sure if anyone else has the same issue, but my one seems to have that kind of splayed out leg issue where it doesn't want to stand perfectly flat on the base of its feet. But overall, really good dinosaur, and I do recommend picking it up. As far as I know, there's another version of it, but it's not the Legacy Collection version. There is a Mattel Battle Damage version that has the kind of sliding panel on the side that reveals the basically ribcage and inner workings of the dinosaur. So there is two Mattel versions, so if you're going for one, I would probably say both of them are just as good as each other. But I do like this Legacy Collection one as well. So moving them off to the side, we'll bring in Mr. Mercenary here. So this is Mr. Mercenary, and he's Dimorphodon. The Dimorphodon, if we can just get it to focus in on it. The Dimorphodon is just a single piece. In fact, it's very similar to those small mini dinosaur pack-ins, or the blind bag ones that they're doing. Very similar to one of those. Has no scan thing on it, so, and it's in this kind of fixed pose. So I'll just dump it up here. It's falling off the back of the pachycephalosaurus, and everything's going to go flying on me, so I'll just leave them down here. It is in a tan colour. I'm assuming there'll probably be other pack-ins of that dinosaur with different colourings, so there might be that to collect them with. And then you got this really cool kind of shock stick that comes with the figure. Now, the articulation on these figures are good. They're not brilliant. I mean, they could have been a little bit better, and I'll show you why. So, articulation wise, they have a waist swivel, which is quite nice. Ball socket for the shoulders. Single joint elbow with a swivel. Nothing in the wrist, and that's the key point that I think would have been a better selling point for these, with the wrist articulation. Ball jointed head, so they can look up a tiny bit, look down a bit, left to right. And he has kind of that weird T-crotch thing, so you can do splits that much, forward that much, back not so much because of the sculpt. The back of the pants does hinder it. Single jointed knee with a swivel. Nothing in the ankle. I don't mind too much about the ankle, not having any ankle. It's just the wrist thing kind of annoys me, that they could have gotten for like two-handed poses with the shock stick. Would have been way better with with a wrist swivel. And then he has this little holster on his belt. It's not glued into place, which is a good thing, because if it was, it would completely restrict the movement on the leg. So it does tend to pop out, but it does free up that leg movement, which is kind of nice. It does look a bit unsightly when the peg is popped out of it, but other than that, it is really cool. And one thing I will say about the paint apps on this figure, you can see the glasses look quite nice on this figure. You know, I had to actually repaint some of the glasses on this because the paint was quite sloppy on it. In fact, you can just see where it's bleeding onto the nose a bit. And I did pick up two of these, as I said. So one I've sort of customized a bit. So if I just bring in the other one. This is the one I customized. I kind of just gave him a brown hair and a beard type thing, just to make him look a little bit different from the other guy, and they didn't look like twins. But the glasses, as you can see, is a slight paint slop on the glasses, just as much on the other guy. What's interesting is it's the only area that has that kind of paint slop, even where the watch is and the kind of wristband on the other arm. They're not that sloppy, just for some reason. However, they were applying the paint to the glasses for the mercenary figure, just made it sloppy. So, just to show, you can get him to hold kind of standard 3 3/4 inch weapons. This is a pistol from one of the, I think it's the Shock Trooper from G.I. Joe. Comes with a few Cobra Troopers as well, and a few of the G.I. Joes. So you can get him to hold kind of standard weapons quite nicely. But as I said, with the articulation point, and this is one of the Marauder Gunrunners guns. You can see it would have been cooler if you could get the wrist swivel, so you could actually hold two-handed better posing. So there's that one minor nitpick with them. Other than that, I think they're quite good. I know people have been annoyed that they're in full proper 3 3/4 inch scale. So if I bring in for scale comparison, you can see Crocmaster here from the 25th anniversary line. He actually towers over. Well, he's not super tall, but he is quite high compared to him. He is a bit higher scale because the G.I. Joe, modern G.I. Joes are in a 4 inch scale. Here is the Hiya Toys Colonial Marine, so he's again a little bit taller. And then for another size comparison, I have a Core Elite El Jefe. So he again, pretty high, pretty tall figure. And then, just as I have him at hand, probably be more in scale. You got Cyclops from the Marvel, there's the Wolverine Origins, Wolverine movie. So you can see the scales. The figures are good. I know people are kind of a little bit annoyed that they're a little bit short, on the short side. that doesn't bother me too much. I mean, they do stack quite nicely with the dinosaurs. So it's just for the reason I got two of the mercenaries as well is because it kind of reminds me of the old Kenner. The design reminds me of the old Kenner Dennis Nedry figure, which was the very first human Jurassic Park figure I had. So you can see they kind of look quite nice next to the dinosaurs. There's the Dilophosaur. And if we just move Cyclops out of the way, there is the basic Attack Pack Blue. Let's get her to stand. So they do scale up quite nicely with the dinosaurs. So there you go, guys. I do recommend getting the human figures as well as the dinosaurs. Unfortunately, for some reason, I had to get these human figures off eBay from a seller in the UK. For some reason, they don't have them over here in Ireland, and the only stockists for any of the Jurassic World line so far that I know of is Smith's, and they've said that they haven't gotten in, or they don't know if they're getting in the human figures, even though I sent an email to Mattel, Mattel's European division, and they said, oh, they will be available in UK in shops such as Sainsbury's, Tesco and Smith's. They'll be the main retailers. So far I've been checking the Tesco's that we have here. No figures have been over here for even the dinosaurs or Jurassic World line. The Smiths, as I said, they do have Jurassic World stuff. They don't have the full line. They don't have any of the Legacy human figures or the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom figures, or human figures I should say. And we don't have Sainsbury's over here, which is the other place that they said they would be selling them, so I don't have that option open to me. I have seen reports on the forums from people in England saying that they have found these in Asda and in Sainsbury's over there. So like they are out in England. They don't seem to be out over in Europe for some reason, I haven't heard of anyone finding them in other European countries other than England. So there you go, guys. Well, they are out in the States as well. In the Legacy Collection is a Walmart exclusive, and the other ones, the general Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom humans, should be available pretty much anywhere they're selling the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom toys. So like we got Target and Toys R Us, even though I'm not sure if they're completely gone now or they're still on the way out. So you have places like that to pick up the human figures. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed my review. I know I went a little bit long-winded with it, but as I say in my reviews, please feel free to like, comment and subscribe to my channel, and I'll try and respond as soon as to any comments I get. So cheers, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video.